Hey, it's Jason Creel and you're watching Lawn Care Life. Today I got to experience what I consider to be the worst part of running a lawn care business. Now maybe tomorrow something will happen that becomes the new worst part, but as of today I want to tell you about what happened and how I dealt with it, and then I want to hear from you guys on how you would have dealt with the same situation. Stay tuned. So let me clarify, I mean, lawn business is great, I love being a lawn business, but some parts of it are difficult. And about once a month, I sit down at my computer, well actually more often than that. I look at the invoices that are past due. Some are 30 days from the time of service, some 60 days, and some, dare I say, even 90 days from the time of service. And yes, occasionally I've even had some that might have been a year overdue. And I've actually collected on one that was over a year due, and I was really happy about that. But, you know, collections is part of the situation. And let me just go ahead and say, I know some people are gonna say, you know, you just gotta get everybody to put a credit card on file, that's all I ever do. And listen, I understand where you're coming from, and I may go to that system at some point, but I'm not there yet. So here's what happened. Today, I'm sitting here looking at, you know, it's time to do the next lawn care service for these people and who still owes me money on the previous one. And so I like to send them a message. And this is a very touchy subject, okay? Because when you call somebody and tell them that they did not pay you last time and they owe you money, it's a double whammy, okay? And just to clarify, I don't call them, I started texting them. Because there's not really, in my opinion, a good way to do this. If you call them, it's awkward. You call them and say, hey, this is so-and-so with such and such company. It's time for your next lawn care service. I was just looking, it looks like we hadn't received a payment from the previous invoice. And I was just checking, following up with you on that and make sure you'd received the invoice and everything. You call them, it becomes awkward, okay? You know, tell them what they're gonna say. So I've started texting them. You know, you text them, just say, hey, this is Jason. You know, it's time for your next lawn care treatment. We didn't receive a payment from the previous treatment. You know, and then I'll tell them that, hey, I'm gonna text you a link, because I just text them a direct link to the invoice. They can go pay it with a credit card and be done with it. So what happens at that point? Well, about half the people are very apologetic, you know, and these are the ones that are consistently late and that sort of thing. And they say, you know, I'm so sorry. And these are people that, they don't really upset me, okay? They just, for whatever reason, not everybody pays their bill on time and that sort of thing, and they just need a little reminder. So you just remind them, they have a busy life, everything, I get it. But they usually pay and they're apologetic for being late. Sometimes they give me a tip, whatever. They don't bother me. But that's only about half the customers, maybe more than half. But then there's some, and I had some specific situations today that I want to tell you about. 3 specific situations where I did this very thing, and I let the customer know it's time for their next lawn service. I hadn't received payment from the previous time. Here's 3 ways that customers respond that make this a difficult thing to do, and I'd love to hear from you. How do you think I should handle the situation? So here's what happened. Send that message to these customers. One of them, all right, so I got one customer in mind. The first time, I've only done his yard a few times, okay? Very first time, he's late on the payment. I call and remind him. He pays it, no problem. You know, I'm thinking, okay, he's just one of them that needs a reminder. You know, I wish he wasn't like that, but I can remind him, no big deal. Well, the second time comes around, he's late again. And that should have been my clue. And for me, doing lawn care treatments, you know, weed control and fertilization, the treatments are more spaced out. So you have plenty of time to pay. You know, you leave in, the way I do it, I leave an invoice at the time of service. They have an envelope there where they can mail a check back, or they can pay online with a credit card, online banking, PayPal, I mean, all different ways they can pay. And most of them pay, and it's no problem. But, you know, he didn't pay on the second time. And I don't like doing more than one treatment, but if I don't get paid for that one, I don't typically go back and do another treatment unless, you know, for whatever reason, you know, I'm making an exception to that rule. Well, he said, I tell him last time, I said, hey, it's time to do the next treatment. I hadn't received payment from the last time. He said, oh, okay, just go and do it. He said, just send me both invoices, I'll pay them both at the same time. I think, okay, you know, he responded, we communicated, I think no big deal, it wasn't that big of money anyway. Go do the next treatment, send him both invoices. Now it's here 2 months later, he hadn't paid either one of them. I've started, you know, very responsive on text and everything until lately. Now, he hadn't paid them, doesn't respond to your text messages anymore. All of a sudden, you know, maybe he got a new phone, you know, maybe he got a new phone number. So you know, and I have learned, you try to give customers the benefit of the doubt, but it's not looking good. So I regret in that situation, I should never have went back and done a second treatment. I broke my own personal rule of getting behind and going another second treatment before I collected on the previous one. So that was my mistake, and I'm gonna stay after him and hopefully to collect from him. All right, customer number 2, what happened? Particular customer I've had for several years, and has been working on his yard doing the weed control and fertilization. His yard's coming along, but it's not to the standard that I personally wish it was. You know, I don't know if it's poor soil quality, whatever, but I mean, it's looking a lot better. He's been patient with me. I told him, I said, you know what, we're gonna keep working at it, and I appreciate his patience, because like I said, it's not to the standard that I typically want my lawns to be at. Well, he, same situation, okay, owed me from a previous treatment, but with him, he's been a customer for several years, always pays. I called him when it came time for the next treatment, talked to him, you know, he said, oh yeah, I'm sorry, we must have just forgot about that, you know, go and do the next one, we'll get it taken care of. Well, do the next treatment, again, breaking my own personal rule, giving a little bit too much trust to the customer. And well, now it's time to do the next treatment, and I still hadn't got paid for the previous 2. And this is a little bit more money, okay, bigger property. And I think, well, he's always, you know, he's been a customer for years. The previous one was a new customer. I don't really have much of a relationship with him yet. So I trust this guy. So I text him the same message. Hey, it's Jason, it's time for your next treatment. I hadn't received payment from the previous 2 treatments. I get a text back. He says, I'll take care of the last 2, don't spray it anymore. Basically, in his way, he fired me. You know, I feel like he fired me. And I have to share those things on here. You know, I've been gaining a lot of customers this year and lost very few, but I feel like, to be honest with you, I do occasionally lose one. And I don't even blame him. You know what I'm saying? His yard, maybe it'll do better next year. I feel like it's coming along, but I understand his situation. But the point of this video is, this text that I'm sending out, and whether I text him or call him or whatever and let him know that he owes me money, there's not a good way to do it, in my opinion. When you do it, you're basically, like where I was saying, it's a double whammy. It's a double whammy because, one, you're telling somebody they owe you money, okay? And so they're thinking, I gotta pay money. I don't know anybody that likes paying money. So it's like, I gotta pay money, that's bad. And then the second part of the whammy is, it's an insult to them as a person. You know, for some people who like to think of themselves as, you know, I pay my bills on time, I don't take advantage of anything. You're not accusing them. I be careful not to accuse them. And I tell them that if I talk to them on phone. I'm not accusing, I'm just asking you to check your records. It could be my mistake. It doesn't matter how you word it. Let me say that. If I said, I say it nice. I don't even ask them for the money. I just send them, let them know that I hadn't received a payment and here's a link to the invoice, you know, and they get the hint. But, you know, it doesn't matter if you said, hey, you know, it's more than likely my mistake. It's probably my oversight. If it is my mistake, I sincerely apologize. I'll give the rest of your services for free for the year. I'm just exaggerating. I would never actually do that. But you know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter how nice you word it. It's still offensive to the person because, in a sense, you're saying, hey, you owe me money and you didn't pay last time. And they're insulted by that. Some of them, like I said, some of them just apologize. They know they didn't pay. And so he fires me, and I'm thinking to myself, would he have fired me if I wouldn't have came back and asked for the money? Now, obviously, I'm gonna ask for the money. I'm not gonna not ask for the money. He rightfully owes me the money, okay? Even if he's gonna fire me, whatever, he still owes me from the previous service, and he's gonna pay him, you know, to his credit. But like I said, would he have fired me anyway? If it, you know, did that text add on to the already disgruntled relationship where he's not completely satisfied with the quality of the service? Now you asking for money and this sort of thing, and so let's just move on. You know, who knows? I don't know. All right, customer number 3. Let me tell you this one. This may be the best one yet. I sent him the same text message. This guy's been a customer for years, never had any trouble. This guy's been a customer for years, never had any problem collecting. Yard looks good, seems to be a satisfied customer. I'm satisfied with him. Everything's going great. I send him the message, okay, it's time for your next treatment. Now, he only owed me for 1 treatment, but again, I don't normally want to get more than 1 behind. So when it comes time to do the next treatment, I call him about the previous one. And I said, hey, you know, I texted him that same message, you know, it's time for your next treatment, I hadn't received payment, here's a link to the invoice, that sort of thing. He calls me. He says, hey, this is so-and-so. I said, hey, how's it going? I said, yeah, it's just, it could be my oversight. I like to say that because you know what? It actually could be. Now, I've been doing this for a long time. About 98% of the time, it's not my oversight. I keep pretty good records. I've got, you know, I put the check number, the date, everything. I keep up pretty good records. I make mistakes. And I like to say that I really genuinely could have made mistakes, so double check your records. But just saying, most time it's not my mistake. Now I don't tell the customer that. I say, hey, genuinely, it could be my mistake. Double check your bank account. If it was my mistake, I sincerely apologize. And I mean that. So what I do, I pull up his account and I say, okay, here, you know, on such and such a date, I received a check from you for this amount. Check number this. I give him the date, the check number, everything. And it shows that that check was for the previous service, but not the most recent one. And he said, I said, but you know, double check your records. That, you know, could be you may have mailed the check in. I forgot to enter in the computer. It does happen, so let's just check. He calls back. He said, we'll check. Okay. So he calls back. He said, what was that check number? I read him the check number. He said, that's the same check number we got. I said, okay, that's, you know, that's what I was thinking. And he says, well, maybe we do owe you money. And then the kind of defensiveness kicks in. And this is the problem with the whole situation is people get defensive because you're asking for money and you're basically telling them that they didn't pay and they don't like to be told that they owe you money and they don't like to be told that they didn't pay it. You know, but the truth is they owe you money and the truth is they didn't pay you. So what are you supposed to do? And this is why I'm sincerely asking, what are you supposed to do? And we'll get to that here in a minute. But the story goes on. He says, well, why did you come out in May if we paid you in April? And that part really confused me. I was like, well, you paid me in April for the previous service, and then I came out in May because May was the time for the next service, and then you pay me for that one, and then I'll come out. You know, that's basically how it works. You know, nobody's prepaying for anything. I do the service, you send a check. We've been doing this for several years with zero problem. And so I explained to him when the dates were, and I think that satisfied that. And I feel like he was just kind of stretching here for some way to defend himself because, like I said, people feel under attack. And so I gave him the dates of the services. He said, so you came on that date and this date? I said, sir, it's 6 treatments a year, okay? It's always been 6 treatments a year. They're not always perfectly spaced out, but they're roughly spaced out the same. And I came on this date, and this date this year. You have 3 services left. And he was like, I thought it was every quarter. I said, no, it's been 6 services the whole time. It's always been 6. I've not changed anything. This year's gonna be 6, last year was 6, you know. So again, he's just kind of like making stuff up here, I feel like, to try to defend himself. And then he says this. He says, well, we never got an invoice. I said, okay, I left it on the door just like I do every single time. Every single time, you know, and at this point I'm like, man, this guy is just trying to defend himself. I mean, this is ridiculous. I leave it on the front door every single time, and there's a sign in your yard every single time. So you see the sign, you think, I guess the lawn guy came. I bet the invoice is on the front door just like it's been every single time. Okay, that this is not confusing. It's the same place. I don't move it around. I don't put it on front door, side door, back door. Where's it gonna be next time? It's on the same door every single time. Now, I didn't say that to him, but that's what I'm thinking. I mean, what's going on? Yeah, I didn't get an invoice. I was like, okay, you know, give him the benefit of the doubt. I'm trying to give him the benefit of the doubt. I don't personally in my mind give him the benefit of the doubt, but I'm trying to on the phone. I say, okay, well, you know, sometimes the wind blows the invoice off the door, you know, whatever. Just making stuff up, trying to help him, you know, understand his side of the point. He's basically admitted finally he owes me money. He said, well, we didn't get an invoice. I said, well, would you like me to email it to you? Can I email it to you? From here on out, would you like for me to email it to you? Would you like me to text it to you? Would you want me to leave it on the door and email it to you? I mean, you know, at the end of the day, I really appreciate those people who, the lesson of this thing is, and he finally, you know, he let me talk to his wife who handles the billing. She said, okay, we didn't get an invoice. I said, well, I'll send you one. I don't know what happened. It's on the front door like it always, whatever. And so I think they're going to pay me, and we're moving on. So what is to be learned from this situation? One, I hate this part of the job. I actually told that lady when she got on the phone, I said, listen, I don't get any pleasure out of sitting here calling y'all asking for money. This is just part of my routine of running the business. I told her, I said, this is the worst part of my job. I told her that. This is the worst part of my job, calling you to tell you that you owe me money, because I know people hate being called, tell them they owe them money. But what am I supposed to do? I'm not going to forfeit the money. So here's the solutions, potential solutions. And for those of you who are credit card only, I only take credit cards on file, and this is why. You're probably screaming at me right now saying, put your credit cards on file for all your customers and don't worry about it anymore. I get that. And maybe a few more calls like I had today, and I will do that, you know, but I'm personally not there right now, because I have probably half my customers pay with a credit card, the other half mail in checks or do other ways. And so, you know, just having half my customers pay with a credit card costs me, you know, thousands of dollars. Well, if I did all of them, you're talking about thousands of dollars. And I guess you could say, well, just add that onto your price. Go up on your prices to absorb those fees, and you won't ever have to worry about all this collection stuff again. I think that's a good point, but I try not to just keep adding more. You know, it's like, well, let's use better weed control products. Just add it into the price. Well, let's add credit card fees. Just add it into the price. Well, you know, you keep on adding stuff in the price. I just don't, you know. Anyway, to me, the headache of it on a day like today makes me question the way I do it. But overall, looking at the big scheme of things, to have to call some people, text people, and occasionally have a conversation like this is not worth thousands of dollars over the course of the year. One day it may be. I think I need to automate as much as possible. So for me, I'm probably going to continue doing the system I'm doing right now. It works for about 95% of the customers. The other 5%, I have to send this text message, and about 60% of those, you know, pay quickly after I send them a text. The other ones, it becomes a problem. You have to collect. But I'll tell you what I have done, and what I'm going to encourage you to do as we try to wrap this thing up. I have for instance, let me take you back to customer 1 in this situation, who owes me, you know, I've only collected one payment from him, then he said he'd pay both at the same time, and I still ain't paid. Now he's not responding to his text message. What I do with those people, I have pre-qualified them for my special edition prepay plan. What I mean, if I collect that money from him, and I may or may not, I still feel optimistic I will, and I've had other customers like that, where it's a consistent problem collecting. If I ever do collect, they go on my prepay plan, meaning I'm not doing a thing for them anymore ever again until they pay up front. And I've got some that are on that plan, and I've told them they're on that plan, and they actually cooperate with the plan. And here's how that works. I will email them or text them the invoice before I go. I'll say, hey, I'm in your area today doing lawns. Here's the invoice. If you want your lawn done, pay the invoice or leave a check. And they'll pay it up front, and then I'll go do the yard, and I don't ever have to worry about it again. And I'm totally fine with that. So I started doing that to the problem customers, if you're able to collect from them, the past due amount. The other thing is, you got somebody that's a real problem, you just get rid of them. I'm convinced more than ever that I need to weed out the bad customers, and I've actually become more selective on which customers I take on. I turned down a customer the other day because the yard was not a good yard, to be honest with you. Too much shade. It would have been hard to ever make it look good from a weed control and fertilization standpoint. Used to, I might have taken that yard and said, well, I can make it look a little better and, you know, get paid for it and whatever. But I've become more selective in the yards I take on, trying to be profitable yards that's going to work out both for me and the customer. And I think as I try to build my business to be more profitable and more efficient, that I'm going to be more selective. Not only on the future customers I take on, but if I have problems with the past customers, I'm going to separate myself from them or put them on a prepay plan so I don't have to deal with situations like I've dealt with today. Let me hear from you guys in the comments. Let me hear what you would have done. Maybe you got similar experiences. How do you handle it? I don't want to hear somebody say, just go spray their yard Roundup and that sort of thing. You know, that's bad. I'm pretty sure it's illegal, and I'm not going to do that. But maybe you have an actual real life suggestion, you know, and putting everybody on credit card on file is one suggestion. But is there another solution that you've done? I'll say this, I would not mow grass. If I was cutting a lot of yards, I would not do like I used to do, cut the grass for an entire month bill them at the end of the month, and then give them a whole nother month to pay. You might be 2 months in worth of service before you collect. To me, that's too far. In the way that situation works now, I would try to collect as quickly as possible. If you're going to do billing like that, I would at least go like some people do, billing in the middle of the month and they have to the end to pay you, and maybe even consider billing at the beginning of the month and they have to the middle of the month to pay you, or just collect at the time of service or put the card on file. No more waiting 2 months to get paid for something I did. I don't think that's right. Let me hear from you guys. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so. Click the bell beside the subscribe button, and I will continue to provide helpful content and real life content from my own business. Talk to you later.